Hello, conscious creators. Lauren Hutton here. So glad you liked my video blog last week. If you didn't like it, you didn't tell me, and that's okay too. I'm always open to feedback. I got a lot of messages from you guys, not just comments and things on Facebook and publicly and on the YouTube channel, but a lot of private messages, and I want to say thank you. I know it's not always everyone's style to pour their heart out on Facebook, so I appreciate the private notes and know that they're confidential. So this past week I have been camping with my dog. That was fun under a full moon, and I've been back to Pilates. I've been in the Pilates studio for about 2 weeks. Can you see my muscles growing? Look at that, right? Nice big muscles. Anywho, I want to talk about two things today. Really talking about the basics of conscious creativity, and then I want to talk about courage. It's something that a lot of you have been writing me about. So when I say conscious creativity, I know a lot of you already know this, but just a reminder, and for those of you who don't really understand what I'm talking about, is that every moment of every day, with every breath we take, every decision we make, every decision we don't make, anything we're not aware of, we are creating our reality. So just making a simple decision about what you're going to do for the day creates your reality. So what I talk about when I talk about conscious creativity is bringing awareness to those creations, because we're all doing it. We're all master creator beings all day long, every day. And conscious creativity is just about bringing the awareness to the fact that we're creating with each breath, with each decision, with each reaction and non-reaction that we have. Conscious creativity is all based on being in alignment with the soul voice. And so just talking basically about what the soul is. The soul of us is the soul is the part of us that does not change. Each lifetime we have, and most of you have been on this planet a long time with many, many lives. Each life that we have, those experiences that we have, the soul distills that wisdom. And it carries with us when we move from the physical body into the other side, and then back into the physical body with a different human aspect. So the soul is the wise master that lives within. It's the part of us that does not change. And it's the part of us that carries the wisdom from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. The soul is interesting because unlike our human aspect, it doesn't know good, bad, right, and wrong. It doesn't have that duality. It just knows experiences. So if we have something that the human considers a traumatic experience, such as losing a loved one or being fired from a job, that's happened to me for sure, and whatever it is, also those happy experiences. The soul says, okay, we're having an experience and we're going to distill the wisdom from this, all of it, without labeling it. So the soul is like a really just, it's experiencing, so it's not an observant, but it's not a judge. It's not labeling things. That's the human aspect of ourselves. So the human aspect is our personality, our thoughts, and our emotions, and really just the human that we are in this life. And the soul gets to filter all that and distill it all down, taking it from lifetime to lifetime. So a lot of you already know that, but for those who are just now joining newenergycreator.com and reading the blog and starting just to have that beginning experience with the soul, I just wanted to clarify some of that. And I'm always happy to answer questions. Shoot me a note, Facebook, email. There's a contact form on my website, which is listed on the YouTube channel and, well, everywhere else, just like everywhere in modern day. So I really wanted to talk about that. And many of you know that I talk about having this conversation between the human aspect and the soul. So letting the human say and state its needs and desires to the soul, saying, hey soul, I really don't want to live out of my car anymore. We've had this experience. It's time to move on. And then allowing the human to hear what the soul has. Most importantly, the soul has an unwavering, ineffable, undescribable love for you, the human. It loves you and all of your idiosyncrasies, all of your personality traits that you may consider less than desirable. Your soul loves you so much. And when you open up to that soul love, it can change your life in miraculous ways. It has mine. And then also, the soul communicates with us in a different way than, say, our thoughts and our emotions, which are kind of all over the place. Many of you well, all of us, right? We're all human. We have these thoughts that run through our head all day long. For me, sometimes it sounds like that Charlie Brown teacher, wah, 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 and it just goes on and on. I have learned to just let it talk. I don't try to control it. I don't try to go into meditation where it's all clear. I just let that brain yak away, you know, and it's good for some things. My brain's really great at uploading these videos, at balancing my checkbook, at doing research to back up my soul creations. So I'm really appreciative of the brain. And then there's the, you know, the human emotions that kind of fly in and out. Same thing, emotion never lasts too long. Neither of these have a very long shelf life, thoughts and emotions. They may continue to repeat, especially when we push them away. These things just want to repeat and repeat. But I've found that when I just step back and let them flow, it doesn't last very long, and it starts to repeat less and less. So that soul voice that we talked about is communicates to us in a different way. Deep inner knowing. Instead of a feeling, it's a sense. Just like meeting someone you know is going to be significant in your life. And that just knowing. There's no research, there's no facts, there's no brain thought to back it up. Just a deep inner knowing. Intuition. And there's a lot of different intuition. Sometimes we have intuition about a dangerous situation, or that maybe someone's not the best person to partner with in our business, or knowing that we're going to learn something very intense from a relationship. It varies, and it's so hard to pinpoint with words. Words are so limiting. It's really about identifying that feeling of what our soul is trying to say to us. Oftentimes, the soul communicates with us in our dream state, in our sleep, through words and through images rather than words. A lot of time, my soul will show me images. And the thing about these soul communications in the dreams and in the images and everything is that it doesn't operate on linear time. Soul does not operate on linear time. You may see a vision that could possibly be from 10 years down the line, or it could be 1 year. And it's also yours to create. So the soul sends us messages through a variety of ways. It's a sensual experience rather than an emotional or thinking linear experience. So really tapping into that soul voice to use it for everything. You can use your soul voice for everything, what you're going to do today, helping you make decisions. A lot of you are sitting in the indecision. I've got that a lot. I can't make a decision. I don't know what to do. And you're using only these gears up here and the voices of those around you and trying to make your big time life decisions. I would just encourage you to try something else, try something new, or remember to try this, because many of you, it's not new at all. It's just a state of remembering for us. So really tapping into that soul voice. Forget all the logic and the reason, forget linear time, forget the shoulds, forget the advice of everybody around you, and really listen to that wise master that lives within you. It's a lot of my beef with the information that's out there these days, although it's getting much better, is a lot of people want to pay a reader or a healer, or they want to listen to a lot of other people tell them how to live their life. And my sole purpose is the soul purpose, which is to remind people that your soul is there, ready to help you, ready to work with you, ready to love you, and it's so patient. It's just so patient. It's been waiting for you to say, hey, soul, let's have this relationship. Let's go through life together. Let's develop this internal relationship and stop this never-ending merry-go-round cycle of crazy emotions and negative thoughts. And that's another thing I want to talk about. You know, there's a lot of information out there about positive thinking, positive this, positive, switch your emotions, think positively. And, you know, a negative thought and a positive thought at their core are the same thing. A thought is a thought, an emotion is an emotion, even though it may not feel like that at the time. So the soul is that unwavering, steady rock. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, this person is my rock, and that person is my rock, or my lifestyle of fitness, and whatever it is, whatever people are latching onto, your soul is your rock. It's right there for you. So that's kind of the basis of everything that I teach. And now that I'm doing this YouTube channel, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Everything and more is in my blog in writing, if you haven't read that. I know some people are video people versus reading people. So what I really want to talk about is courage. Oh my goodness. So many people tell me all the time, Lauren, you're so courageous. How do you do it? Well, first of all, let's redefine what courage is. Courage is taking action regardless of fear. So most people, anyone you know who has a so-called courageous act is experiencing fear. It's a thing we can distinguish between the human voice and the soul voice. For example, in January, I had planned to move to Colorado when my lease was up on my apartment, not in the winter, not in the snow, and do everything responsibly and for my budget. And I woke up one morning in January and I said, I cannot live in this city anymore. Not that Austin's not a lovely place. It just wasn't, we weren't clicking. Austin and I needed to have a little break. And instead of suffering for the next 6 months until it was responsible enough to move, I woke up one morning, I packed all my stuff up in my car, and I drove off. I broke the lease, I paid the fine. My happiness has no price. Didn't care. Whatever the price was to break the lease, pay it, fine. And I drove here and I had no idea where I wanted to live or what I wanted to do, or even if I wanted to live here in Colorado. But I was intent on trusting that soul voice. Soul said, we got to get out of here. It's time to move on. You know, and often the soul doesn't say, here's the plan. On January 29th, Lauren is going to drive from Austin and end up in Colorado 1 week later and find the perfect house 2 weeks later, and then meet new friends that she absolutely adores 3 weeks later. It did not give me any of those plans, although that's kind of how it worked out. So I packed up and I drove off and I listened to my soul. I rented a place on Airbnb. I woke up one morning and I had made an appointment with a realtor. And when I was driving out to look at houses, my soul said 3. I said, okay, what does 3 mean? I saw the number 3. And then there was a deep inner knowing that the third house I looked at that day, I would buy and it would be mine. Now, I didn't know what order I was going to look at the houses in. We were kind of juggling, the realtor and I, with people's schedules because all the houses were still inhabited. And here I am sitting in the third house. Yes, the third house that I looked at on Valentine's Day of this year, I purchased on the spot and moved in 1 month later, and I love it. So that's just one example of listening to soul voice. Now, sounds real courageous, right? She just up and left and took a risk and whatever. And don't get me wrong, I had days where my human thought voice would come in and say, oh, this is the dumbest idea you ever had. What if this happens to the house? What if you don't like it there and you're stuck? None of that's true. None of that is true. And I've learned to either have a good laugh about it, or I've learned to say, hey, human, come here, let me give you a hug. Almost like it's a 3-year-old throwing a temper tantrum. And that's the level of sophistication we're talking about. The human is, it's new, it's having this new experience on earth, and the soul goes, okay, we've done this before, we got this. Let's just shift this around. So courage also can appear really awesome from the outside, right? Like on Facebook, it looks like I just popped in here and bought this house, and you know, in 2012 when I just quit my job and decided to do something else, people kept telling me over and over again, you're so courageous. It often felt like they were also telling me I was absolutely fucking crazy. But maybe I am. Who cares? It all worked out. It always works out. That's the thing. It all works out, and there are no mistakes. So courage is often feeling like you have no other choice. When I left Austin in January, I felt like I had no other choice but to get in my car and drive off. It wasn't an option to sit there and be in a place that wasn't working for me. I couldn't really be me there, and it has nothing to do with anybody else or the city. It has to do with where I am, where my energy is, and being aware enough to realize that my energy right now is so much better suited for where I am in the base of the mountains right here in the foothills. And then being in a giant skyrise apartment in downtown Austin that felt like I was living in a beehive. So I just being aware enough to know that that was the choice I had to make. I have friends who have been working in the same job for 15 years. And for the last 8 of those years, or whatever it is, it's varying years, but you get my point, have been telling me, I'm going to leave this job, I hate this job. And all of these things keep happening at work. Personal relationship conflicts, dating someone next to the work and you don't want to see them. All these different things are pushing this is multiple friends, not just one, pushing them into a different experience, pushing them out of that job they can't stand, but they stay there in the fear. And they say, well, I don't have the courage like you, Lauren. Forget it. Forget the courage. Let courage go. Be fearful and act anyway. What's the worst thing that can happen? I promise you, people are so resilient and they think it's almost like it's associated with death. Well, it is associated with death. If I don't have a job and I don't find a new one that I like really quickly, I'll run out of money. I'll have to live out of my car. And then if I don't have money to eat, then I'll die. It always goes back to death. And here's the deal, you're not going to die. You have a great support system and you are so resilient. Your soul is so wise. It's going to show you. Sometimes my dad used to always say, do not quit your job until you have the next one. Well, he's going to kick my ass, but forget that. Sometimes you have to, and save up some money, right? Be responsible. That's great. Save up some money and take some time off to find a job. Sometimes it's really hard to hear that soul voice when you're dragging yourself into work, especially on Monday morning and you all post on Facebook, I hate my job, I don't want to do this. Then don't. If you don't like it, either shift your view and shift your attitude or get the fuck out of there, right? Yeah, and sometimes our soul voice, we can't hear it over the yak and everything of sitting at that desk all day long. Or take a vacation from work, even, I don't have vacation days. Take an unpaid vacation, then your job's still there when you get back. There's just so many solutions. And oftentimes I hear so many excuses about why I can't make a change in my life, why it's too scary or whatever. There are so many creative solutions. And if you listen to that soul voice that we talked about in the beginning of this video, then the solutions will appear. The thing is, they're all around you at all times and you're just not seeing them. And it goes back to that being conscious. Consciousness is just awareness. It's being aware of the subtle, very subtle things that are happening. And once you start to open it, they won't become so subtle. It'll be the difference between that thought voice and what used to be the little subtle hints that the universe, or you always say the universe was giving you, but it's your soul voice. It's not the universe. So all of those subtle hints that you think are the universe or the signs that are so hard for you to decipher, those will start to become the deep soul voice instead of universal signs and whatever. So, and it'll start to be, the soul voice will start to be the main thing in your life, the main guiding force, rather than those thoughts that kind of have the shelf life of, a grape sitting on a counter, or less than that. So what we're getting at, and I don't believe in goals or plans, you guys have read my blog, but if you want the end goal, what we're really going towards, what we're allowing is that soul voice to become the soul voice, S-O-L-E, the only voice. So really getting so good, and it's a practice and it's going to take time, getting so good at hearing that soul voice that it guides you completely through your life. And you never have those human doubts, the voice that says, this isn't going to work out, what were we thinking, I can't believe I quit my job, I'm going to kick your ass, Lauren, you told me to quit my job and now I don't know what to do. All part of the process. Sometimes we have to lose everything, and I know I did at one point, and I created it. I was fully aware that I was creating it. Sometimes we have to clear the deck so we can rebuild. And that's what a lot of us are experiencing. It used to be that we were born onto this planet and we would be here for 30 years if we were lucky. We'd die, we'd reincarnate again. now that we're living these long lives and then the shifting energy of what's going on here on earth, we're able to have multiple lives in one physical body, and having, you know, so many lives, almost like Madonna recreating herself every 5 years in the 80s and 90s. We get to have as many lives as we want in these physical bodies, and what a gift that is, to not have to go through the whole death and rebirth process to get to our next experience. So for those of you who are kind of teetering on the edge, thinking of a big change, go ahead and let it die and then go through your rebirth. Create everything from the ground up. Keep the things that work for you, and the ones that don't, let it go. Don't be sentimental about it. You know, you have friends that are keeping you stuck in your old ways, let them go. I know it sounds cold and harsh and cold, but it's the reality. This life is about you. And the best thing you can do for everyone around you is do you. Take care of you and listen to your soul voice. Okay, I see we're at almost 21 minutes. This is supposed to be a 5-minute video, and of course it's not. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I could sit here and talk for hours. I love all of the questions, all of the feedback, all of the stories that you guys are sending me. A lot of people saying, hey, this human thing I'm doing, is it working? I'm ready to walk the soul path. And that doesn't mean you're all hippy-dippy, new agey, you know, going to yoga every day. Forget it. This is the way businesses are being created these days. This is where the traditional success model is going. It's going to be a lot less about bottom lines and budgets. Money's just going to show up when you are working and creating from your soul voice. Okay, I really got to wrap it up. I love you guys so much, and I love sitting here and chatting with you. And please make it interactive and let me know what's going on with you, what you're thinking. And if you want to sign up for a soul session to help you get in touch with your soul, or help you discern between that human aspect of yourself and that soul aspect, I am taking new clients. I've got about 1 or 2 spaces a week right now. And more information is on newenergycreator.com. It has a full list of services, what I do, and how I help people in their creative process. So thank you so much, and I love you guys, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend, or if you're watching this next week, have a fabulous week. And don't go to that job anymore that you dread. Stop it. Figure out a plan. Listen to that soul voice. All right. See you later. Bye.